welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachael
and Neil Young. We're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachael and Neil Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Hey, come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
And over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that? Hey!
Rach, who do you love?
HDPhotoHub.
Today's episode is brought to you by HDPhotoHub.
The platform real estate photographers trust.
And so do we, because Rach and I both use it on a daily basis. Check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Chickadee, check it before you wreck it. We're back with another summer series here with Rachel's Power Team. And today we're talking about virtual assistants. Now, Rachael has both what she classifies admins and virtual assistants. Today, we're really going to kind of talk a little bit about how she thinks about those a little bit differently. And then we're really going to dive down into what the virtual assistant would be helpful for. Sound right, Rachael?
Yes, sounds fantastic. Yeah, we did an episode, I don't know when it was a while back, on admins, and we touched on a virtual assistant. So Neil and I were talking, we're like, isn't this kind of redundant? But we're just focusing on the virtual assistant today, and we've got some exciting news at the end, so stick around. And yeah, I'm excited to dive in because virtual assistant can really help you build and grow your business in a lot of different areas for a really good price. Like an admin costs a lot more because they're going to be US based and we have to pay them US rates, whereas your virtual assistant is going to be overseas, so you can pay them just a fraction of what you would pay an admin here in the States. So it's a great way to get a lot of your little tasks taken care of that you just don't want to spend the time doing anymore, because eventually you'll learn that your time is worth more than uploading photos in the morning, and you'll get to the point where you can afford to hire someone to do that. So, and it's honestly, it's a huge blessing. So
yeah. Or you get to the point where you can't afford not to.
Right? That too. Yeah.
Cool. And we were talking to Rach before we got going on this. And so I have what I call an admin, but it's a virtual assistant that I have. So, which is virtual being overseas, not here, not present, not somebody who answers phone calls and things like that. And we're just kind of, let's just go a little bit like what we're kind of separating these two categories as, so people kind of understand what we're talking about, because I feel like you could just say admin and think you're thinking virtual assistant and get confused. So Rachel's classifying her admin is her US employee who's, native English speaking, someone who could answer phone calls because they're native English speakers. There's no like worry that something would be lost in translation. And of course, because they live in the US, a price of living here is much more expensive than some of these overseas resources that we have for virtual assistants. So they cost more because, cost of living is more. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. And honestly, your virtual assistant is an admin. They're doing administrative work for you. So I just call mine my virtual assistant and my admins. So it's pretty much the same thing. They're doing very similar tasks. It's just your admin in the US is going to be more forward facing with your clients, and you can give them more robust tasks like copywriting or helping put together documents, things like that. Like editing the podcast is one. I asked my virtual assistant if he could edit the podcast, and he said, no, I don't think I'll be able to do that with the language barrier. Even though he speaks fluent English, he just said it would be really hard for him. So now I've passed that off to my admin who lives in the States. So tasks like that, where you really need to be able to have that like clear English speaking as your first language, those are the tasks that I give to the admins. So, and then the virtual assistant can do all the behind the scenes stuff, that doesn't take a lot of communications. And we'll kind of dive into some of the roles that they play within my business and how I've utilized him. And his role has grown. It's, I'm always trying to think up new things for him to do, because I pay him a salary for 40 hours a week, and he does not work 40 hours a week for me. However, he's pretty much on call. So I kind of justify it with him being on call. He's just available pretty much whenever I need him. So, and he works Tuesday through Saturday as of now. And then if we have a job on a Saturday, I'll just message him and say, hey, do you want to upload on Sunday? Can you do it? And he's like 95% of the time he says yes, unless he's out of town. So he's pretty flexible with that, which has been great. So I got a good one.
Cool, cool. Yeah, and then price-wise, just so people have a better understanding for the virtual assistants versus the US based admin, you're talking what? I don't have a US based admin, but I'm guessing somewhere around $20, $25 an hour. Is that right?
It's anywhere from like 15 to 25 an hour for a US admin.
Okay.
And then the virtual assistants anywhere from like $4 to $10 an hour.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big savings.
Yeah.
Honestly, for doing the kind of work like uploading in the mornings is super easy. Anyone can do that. So that's the task that I have Jan do for me. So,
And you just
big
have
help.
one, and you just have one virtual assistant, Jan? Is that
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. Just
Okay.
one for now. And then I have 2 admins, but I don't need to. The one gal's been with me for almost 2 years now, and she knows how to do everything. So she kind of steps in when I go out of town to help with client communication, or if we have a really busy day, she'll come in and upload a couple jobs. But as of now, I only have her uploading 2 days a week, and we honestly don't even need her to do that. But I want to keep her on because I like her, and she's a good one to have around when I do need her. So.
And are your admins both part-time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I did the new admin that I hired. She's more of like an assistant role. So I have an Airbnb that she manages all the communication now with the clients for the Airbnb, which is nice. So that's just something kind of extra that she's picked up on the side. And she has an interest in getting into property management. So and like Airbnb property management. So it's something that she's interested in anyway. So it was a good fit for her. And then again, she's editing the podcast, and she edited all my little FAQ talking head videos that I made the other day. So those have been coming out on social media. So yeah, let's just dive in, because I feel like we're kind of touching on things that we're going to talk about throughout the episode.
I think that's good though, that we kind of separated that. I think people got a good understanding of why you might have an admin or versus a virtual assistant. So cool. Yeah, let's talk about a little bit more in depth about Jan and what that's all about, for sure.
Sure. So let's start first off with why you would need one. If you need help, if you're feeling the pressure, like you just don't have enough time in the day to get photos up back to your clients, or when you're out shooting all day, you get these little requests for photo fixes or something. It's great to have someone in the office that can make those changes quickly, because customer service, being able to offer a quick response to your clients and getting those things back as soon as possible is going to set you apart from your competition. Like hands down. That's one of the biggest things that we're known for, is that we get our photos back the next day before noon, and we always reply super quick, because a lot of brokers are under the wire on a crazy crunch timeline, and they need their photos back as soon as possible. If one photo needs fixed, they don't have time to wait until 7 p.m. when I get back from shooting. They need it now to go live for their listing. So it's important for customer service wise just to have somebody in the office who can help you with those little fixes. So if you're feeling the crunch there, it's definitely worth looking into. And you don't have to hire them full time. You can just do an hourly position. Doesn't have to be salary. So there's options there to kind of ease into it and see how it goes.
And just so to clarify one point, I have a question for you on this too, because I'm curious, for your admin, does your admin work US hours? Because a lot of them are they're totally on the opposite timeline, right? If they're in the Philippines, or if they're in India or somewhere like that, but sometimes they will still work US hours. Is that the case with Jan?
Yeah. Yeah. So you prefaced him as the admin, but the virtual assistant.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. Yeah. So Jan works hours. He's 12 hours different, 12 hours ahead of us. So yeah, he works through the night for me. And yeah, so he's usually starts about 5 or 6 a.m., starts uploading when jobs are ready back from the editor. And then he'll work until like 3 or 4. He's available. Like I just messaged him. It's 4:15 right now in the afternoon, and I messaged him about 45 minutes ago and said, "Hey, are you up? I have a question." And he popped right on and answered my question. So he's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little night owl.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to, when you're getting so busy that you don't have enough time for yourself, or maybe enough time, right, to accomplish other things that are important in your business. obviously uploading photos in the morning is not the best use of your time, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
Totally.
people that would be competent enough to be able to figure that out if you showed them how to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And knowing your worth, like if you figure out what your hourly wage is, like how much you're getting paid per hour, there's a lot of resources online. You can Google it or just figure it out on your own. But figure out how much you're worth per hour and then think about how much you're going to be paying this virtual assistant. And, if you can take that little hit, it might be worth it to you because then you can actually work on your business, not in your business. So that'll give you time to work on marketing pieces or client outreach or, whatever you need to do or get more rest. Like maybe you just want to have more time with your kids in the morning, or for
Yeah.
yourself, whatever. You're trying to write a book, who knows? But
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
free you up to just have a little bit more freedom because this business they're long hours. I mean, you'll be up early uploading, then you're shooting all day, then you're home uploading, and then you go to bed. But
Yeah.
it's a long, long day. So if you can get help early, it's definitely worth
Yeah.
the
Yeah. And if
investment.
if you think about it, if they're part-time and they're overseas somewhere in that ballpark of, $4 to $10 an hour, let's say you're $5 an hour, you're paying somebody and they just gonna, how many hours does it take you to upload your jobs in the morning?
Excuse me. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Anywhere between like 1 and 4 hours uploading, honestly. And
right.
it depends on how quick your editor gets them back too. Like sometimes you're in a bind, your editor doesn't get them back until 9 and you have to leave at 9:30 and you're like, shit.
Right.
I gotta get these done in 30 minutes. Like cannot tell you how many times I was scrambling to get them done and out the door and get the kids to school and like get myself ready.
Yes. That's what used to stress me out the most is that I'm like, I got to leave in 10 minutes or I'm going to be late. And I still, maybe I didn't get that job back. I'm waiting for the editors to just give me that revision. I got to upload this. And then just that amount of stress. What's that? We're talking about $20 for 4 hours of your time is amazing. So it's definitely worth it to get that off your back, that stress relief, if nothing else, I think. So it's been a big help. But there is a cost, and it does add up over the week. You to make sure that you're making up for that. Maybe you have to raise, and if you think about it this way, if you're like, well, that's just a cost and I can't afford it. Well, what if you raised your drone rate by $20? You know what I mean?
Or even 10.
Yeah.
I mean, $10 on a drone shoot, like raise your prices 2% across the board and it would more than cover it.
Right. Or offer, if you've got HDPhotoHub and you're not selling the marketing kit, add a couple services that you didn't have as an add-on, like that marketing kit for $40, $50. And every time you get one of those, that covered your admin for a day or two, sorry, virtual assistant.
There it is.
A day or two.
Come on.
It's an admin to me.
I know,
but
right?
I know I understand you, the way you separate it. It makes sense, but it's just for me, she's my admin. I call her my admin all day long. So it's going to be next to impossible for me not to mess that up. So just know that we're talking about, from this point on, virtual assistants.
Definitely. Got it. I sell my property website marketing kits for $50 and they cost me 15 from HDPhotoHub. And last year I gave them away free with a video, free with Matterport, free with my big packages. And this year I changed that and they only get a property website and marketing kit with our Works and our Plus package. Works is like all the services, Plus is stills, video, and Matterport. So if they order anything besides those two packages, they have to pay the $50. And for me, it's like when I was giving it away, I realized a lot of my brokers weren't actually even utilizing it. So I felt like it was a waste of money for me to be just giving it away for $15, and they're not even using it. And part of it is a lot of them just didn't know how to use it. But now I'm like advertising it more on social media, how to use it. And it's an upsell. So I'm making more money off that now this year than I was last year. So
and do you notice that people are purchasing those?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of clients who love the flyers or just want the property website. Yeah. And a good way to sell it too, this is kind of a side note from the VA thing, but good way to sell it is that they can showcase all of the photos. They're not limited to just 40 on the property website.
And they can in the website. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can add that QR code onto their flyer. They can put it at like silent talkers around the house on like a newsletter that they send out or a little postcard they send out to the neighborhood. They can put that QR code on anything. So it's pretty awesome. Okay. Yeah. Back to virtual assistant. That's our plug for HDPhotoHub for the day. We talk about it like every episode.
We don't get paid by them. But
we might. Neil, I have news.
Oh,
we might be getting paid by HDPhotoHub. Yes, we might have a sponsor. And probably by the time this comes out, they will be one of our sponsors. So yay.
So then we do get paid.
Maybe we do. We don't know yet. We'll find out. We'll find out. Okay, so if you're
pay for that
planning-
VR virtual
Yes.
assistant, I mean.
Exactly.
Yep.
Pay for the editing. Yeah. So if you're trying to grow a team or grow your business and you want it to be bigger, it would be good to start now with setting up your own power team and getting it going. And this is like the first person you want to hire would be a virtual assistant because they're cheap. They're going to take care of your morning work and just kind of be that, you know, boots in the office, not boots on the ground. Boots in the office to take care of all your little stuff that
Boots
eats
in
up
the
your
computer.
evening time. Yeah, boots in the computer. There we go.
Yeah, totally.
So
No,
yeah,
totally.
a lot of reasons why you would need them. There's a lot of,
Yeah.
you know, it seems pretty obvious why you would need them, but
Yeah, and forward thinking is a big part of it too. Forward thinking that if you've got any thoughts to do more shoots yourself or to bring on another shooter, then you need to start just getting the little pieces in place that eventually it might not be killing you yet, but it's a good time to get started on it now. As if it's something that would be helpful, it's going to be more helpful in another year, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Neil, let's talk about what the virtual assistant actually does for me personally on my team, and then we can talk about some of the tasks that they could potentially do going forward. So for me, like I told you, Jan does 95% of my uploads in the mornings, and he can handle like 10 to 15 jobs a day. He does a pretty good job getting them done because he starts early and he's gotten quick. He came with a knowledge of Photoshop, which is great. And he knows how to edit in Premiere. He also knows how to build landing pages. He has a background in graphic design, so he can design little brochures and stuff for me. So it's been great. So upload and delivery is number one. He can, especially now with the new Photoshop beta, which is so cool. You just select an item and say, remove dump truck. I did it today and it like vanished.
Really?
So
That's
good.
cool. I haven't done that yet.
He's been playing with that. He's like, do you want this car in the driveway? And he's like middle of the day messaging me. I'm like running around with my head cut off. And I was like, if you have the time to take it out, yeah, take it out. And he goes, sit like 2 seconds later, he sends me the picture of it removed. He's like, boom. I'm like, good job, Jan.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So he'll remove items if needed. I mean, we also request that from our editors, but sometimes they do charge extra for junk removal, but now we can do it pretty easy in Photoshop. So Jan's becoming a master at that. So that's cool. He doesn't communicate with my clients unless it's from a template that I've already created, like an email template that so we have a Google Doc. I use the Drive, Google Drive, for all of my documents and organization for the business. And he has his own little folder in there. And one of the docs in there is just email templates of things that we might send the clients. So one is like, when a client orders Twilight conversion, we need to ask them which photo would you like converted, or same thing with virtual staging, which images do you want virtually staged, you know? So he'll do those basic emails and he always CCs me on them as well. So I see it, you know, and then they hopefully reply all and we can get those orders in. But he'll go ahead and order the Twilight conversion from the editors. I still haven't let go of virtual staging yet. I still like to be in control of that, but it's not that often that we do virtual staging, so it's okay for now.
And then Jan, when he gets the jobs back from the editors, he's reviewing and giving them notes if they need to fix things too, right? Or is he just uploading? Okay.
No, and he's cropping and fixing the horizontals. And, you know, the biggest disconnect is the color correction. And I don't know what it is about those blue cabinets, like the blue behind you, Neil, but it always comes out like super turquoise. Anytime there's really bright colored walls, they oversaturate them and they look really bad. And so I've been telling admins and Jan, I'm like, you guys have to watch out for this. Like, just check the raw files anytime there's a really bright house, because that's a lot of times the colors are god awful when we get them back from the editor. So yeah. And then oh, go ahead.
I was to say, and that's a hard one. If they've never seen the raw files, that's a hard one for them to know. So yeah, you got to give them some little pointer of things to look for. Yeah. Same with me. I tell them, I don't know why, but kitchens, there's variations of whites, and sometimes the editors will just make everything white. So I got to tell them, hey, check those whites in the kitchen to make sure, because sometimes they're cream and the sink is white. At least if you look at the raw file and you click on like white balance on one of those things, you can tell if there's variations in color, because a lot of times it's all one white and it's like, looks really fake, you know?
Yeah, they just suck all the life right out of it.
Desaturate. So you got to give them pointers though, like to look for it. Just triple check those raw files. Yeah.
And so as I was training Jan, like I would go through and look at jobs and I would point things out. I'd like circle stuff and send him a picture with the circled and say like, there was a masking error here, or this light's all blown out, or this light has like a starburst coming off of it. We need to fix it. So there, all those little things that I noticed that he might not. Same with like the security signs that people have in their yards, the ADT or whatever, blink or whatever they are, they are little security signs. I'm like, we need to remove those from the shot. And then in drone shots, remove the people. If you see people in the shots, remove people, remove cars as much as you can. So yeah, he does all that stuff. And then he takes care of little fixes throughout the day. So if I have a client call and they're like, hey, can you crop this photo differently? Or, whatever my clients are requesting, I can message him and be like, hey, can you fix this? Or like if they add it on drone at the shoot, we communicate on Slack. So the shooters will communicate to Jan and say, hey, this client added drone onto the package. So then Jan can go in and update that, which is great.
Yeah, and you just show them how to do some of that stuff. And then you have control of that too. It's a good point. If you have HDPhotoHub, you have control of what their access level is. So right now, my virtual assistant does not have access level to change services, like to add the drone on. I have to do that still. But if ever became a problem and I wanted to give that access, I would just change that setting for her login. Oh, and I want to say one thing too. As you're thinking about, if you're thinking you're going to eventually have an editor work for you or hire a virtual assistant or an admin, it's a good time to start paying attention to, like Rachel was saying, as she was going, she showed them this light was, blown out, that needed to be fixed. Do little screenshots of these things with a little note on each one and put them in a Google Drive folder and just save them there for examples for editors. And as you kind of compile them, you already have your work done for you. And then you can just say, hey, check out the folder, share the folder with them, and look at these examples of things to look for. Your work's already done.
Exactly. Yeah. And one thing you might be thinking is like, I'm so busy, I don't have time to train someone. I hired Jan about a year ago and we were in the thick of it, just busy. And I was like, I have to take the time. I have to take 2 steps back to take, 3 steps forward because I have to get help. So know that there's going to be a learning curve. They're not going to pick everything up on the first week or even the first month. It takes a long time to train them. You just have to be consistent and be on them and make sure that you're pointing out the errors, the things they do good and the things that they do bad, so that they know they're doing some things right. You don't always want to just tell people the bad, but it's definitely, it's a process to get them trained. But once they're there, trust me, it is so great.
Yeah. And you don't start them out with everything, right?
No.
You don't walk away and say, do all the things I used to do in the morning. You start out with one task and you add to that. That task might be just, maybe you already uploaded all the files and all that, but now you want them to send the email, hey, your photos are complete. And you've got the template and you tell them where to go get the template to paste that in, because you don't want them typing it themselves, because there can be those language barriers where there's mistakes. So they paste it in, they send it to the right client. That's phase 1, right? And just build from there. Yeah,
exactly. Neil, sorry, I have to interrupt real quick. I have one thing to talk to you about.
Rachel.
Right. No. Okay. Have you had a client call you late at night trying to figure out how to get their video posted onto Instagram? They're like, I can't figure out how to get the video on Instagram. Can you help me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to download it and email it to yourself, put it in a Dropbox folder or Google Drive. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, pull my hair out. Okay, we have a solution for you. HDPhotoHub came out with an app where your clients will download the app in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. It's free for them to download, and they can access all of their media from this app and download it straight onto their phone. All the photos, they can place orders online from the app. You're literally in their pocket, and it makes it so easy for them.
And it's white labeled with your info. So it looks really cool that you have your own app. How cool is that? So, and what else is sick about this is, because you're listening to Shooting the Shit, if you set up a configuration call with HDPhotoHub and mention Shooting the Shit that you heard about it from us, you're going to get a crazy discount, 33% discount, 1,000 credits for the app, which is a smoking deal.
It's normally 1,500 credits, you guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's such a good deal. Take advantage. Get the app today. And that's a one-time fee and you're done.
You're going to look slick too for all your clients. You got your own white labeled app. Who is this guy?
Right? You have an app? That is absolutely fabulous. No pun intended.
Cheers to that.
Okay, back to the show. So a couple other things that Jan does for me. He deletes the Matterports when they've expired or when they've
Yep.
sold. So he'll go through that and check all those. He'll reach out to the shooters if there's any media that's missing. So sometimes the photographer won't send the Zillow link. So he'll send them a message on Slack and say, hey, can I get the Zillow link for this one? We're missing it. Or if they forgot to upload the Matterport, we'll message them for that, things like that. He does the social media graphics for our podcast. So when you see like Neil and I, like with the one picture on top, one picture on the bottom, and then it says shooting the shit around it in the episode, and that he does all of those graphics because he has a background in graphic design and he knows how to use Premiere, which is great. He's also been helping with the graphics on my talking head videos. So like I was talking earlier, I made these FAQ videos, frequently asked question videos. Like everybody asked me the same questions over and over. So I'm like, I'm making videos for this. We're going to just put these out there and then save them to the highlights. But anyways, yeah. So he has been helping add all the little like moving graphics, and we have my fonts for my brand and the colors for my brand for the captions that he's saved and put on there. And then he didn't do the thumbnails for these ones, but he has done thumbnails in the past too for reels and stuff for me. So, and that little stuff that's just a time sucker. It just takes up, I take way too long doing that stuff because I'm not trained in graphic design, I'll try, but it's better left to someone that's more trained in that and understands how to do that quickly. So he's done a good job with that. He also does, so with my online course that I'm working on, I have some worksheets that I've put together. And so he went in and formatted all of those. I just gave him like a plain Word document with the text and said, can you make me a worksheet for this? And he makes it pretty. And it's got my branding. There's like a picture of me, my logo's on there. So, and they look great. He's done a really good job. So, and same thing. I tried to do them. I was like, I'll just do them. I have time. And I tried one and I was like, this looks terrible. Jan, help. And he sends it back. I'm like, wow. It's honestly probably a template on Canva, but he found a good one and he made it.
Yeah.
Look good.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't care how he does it.
And you didn't waste any of your time doing it. So
Yeah.
there's other things for you to focus on. No, I think that's awesome. I love it.
Exactly.
Cool.
So yeah, social media shorts too. I do a photo dump every month. I'm trying to take more pictures on my cell phone of my personal life because I realized it's a lot of work and not a lot of my kids and stuff. So I've been every month doing a little photo dump of pictures that are not so much work focused, which it's like 50-50, but getting there. So he'll put together those for me. And then any little short videos that I want for social media, I'll be like, oh, let's showcase drone. So can you put together a little drone reel that's like 30 seconds long? And he just uses templates in CapCut and in on TikTok and stuff and exports them and sends them over. So it's pretty great. Lots of social media content coming out of that one. It's been fantastic. Great. Yeah. We have a 3 social media pack. It's called the FMC Pro Pack that we offer. And it's a lifestyle reel, which incorporates the agents. And then there's a speed walkthrough, which is one continuous take of the whole house. And then you like speed up to go in the front door, slow down in the living room, speed up to the next room, slow down. I'm sure you guys have seen these. And then the third reel that we offer is called the Epic Teaser. And it just showcases the best features of the home. Yep. So we have these 3 videos that we are offering, and Jan is now going to start to edit these for us. I'm testing them out. So he did one the other day and it turned out really cool. I just need to up my game on video. Like I'm feeling like I hate our music. I was like, can you help me find new music? I just can't find good music. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, the music is hard. The music is really hard. Yeah.
I just don't have the patience to sit there and listen to all these songs either. I'm like, oh gosh. Cheyenne Crawford, if she's listening, she has the best music on her videos. I should just reach out and be like, yo, how do you find your music? How do you do it?
Right?
It's so good. Yeah.
It does take a long time just weeding through this stuff. Even when I use Epidemic Sound and it still has like suggestions for similar songs, but you still find like you're running across the same kind of stuff after a while, and you're like, don't want to recycle the same 20 songs or whatever, or 50, whatever it is. You feel like it's getting repetitive, but yeah, it's hard to find the ones that are like, and then it's like a fine difference between finding something that feels modern, it doesn't feel tacky and doesn't sound too lame, but is upbeat, and it's like, it's hard. Yeah.
I know. And then you have some brokers who are older, so you want to do kind of the traditional ones.
I know.
Then it's like, it's hard.
And
It's
do you make the call on that? Because sometimes I make the call and I'll tell I have a dedicated video editor right now, and I'll just tell them this one, let's go a little more classic because I just know it's an older couple that owns the home and the agent
Mhm.
is also that demographic. So I think we're not going to get away with the modern, kind of more upbeat stuff. So yeah, it's challenging though because sometimes you guess wrong, and they're like,
Yeah,
"You got
we
something cooler,"
right. I know. I have had a couple agents be like, "Do you have different music? We don't like this." I'm like, yeah. No, we have a whole library of music that I've downloaded from Epidemic Sound, and so we upload the audio track that we want them to use for the videos to our video editor.
Oh, okay. You just say use this one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That makes sense. I
yeah.
leave it. My editor's pretty cool. He's also a virtual editor overseas. I leave it up to him, but every now and again, it's like I'm like, I feel like our music's kind of let's find some new selections again, because it gets a little recycled or it just they aren't sounding as cool as what they were before, So yeah, it's tricky. The music part is definitely difficult.
Totally. So that's
Cool.
pretty much what Jan does for me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I haven't really given him any more tasks at this point. I'm just kind of happy with what he's doing. He's available. I don't know. I feel like it's good for now, but there is room for him to do more. So as I find more tasks for him, I'll pass them off. So
Cool.
some of the qualifications that you want to look for when you're hiring
Yeah.
a virtual assistant, they definitely need to know how to use Photoshop and pretty well because you're going to want them to be able to remove items and know the clone tool, understand how to do a color adjustment if needed, how to desaturate and masking, like little things like that that'll really help them to make, just put those finishing touches on your photos.
Yeah.
Another one, Premiere, if they understand, they have a good idea of how to use a like pretty comprehensive video editing software like Premiere or Final Cut Pro, any of those where they can go in and, add a speed ramp here and there or cool transitions, things like that. Something probably more than CapCut would be good. Except CapCut's pretty awesome. You could probably get
Yeah.
away with that nowadays.
Is good. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, Google Drive access, he needs to have access to that, which I think everyone on the planet has access to Google Drive. So that's where we share docs and he uploads
Yeah.
all the final videos into a folder for me there for me to review. And then the last thing, the biggest qualification this was my biggest hang up with hiring a virtual assistant was the language barrier. Because I was thinking like, oh, they're not going to be able to understand me or it's going to be really tough. But Jan speaks really good English. Like
Yeah.
we can have full on conversations. And if he doesn't, the one thing I really like about him is if he doesn't understand something, he always asks me, what is that? What do you mean by that?
Mhm.
He always asks for clarification. He's not afraid to ask. And I've made it really clear from the beginning. I'm like, if you don't understand something, please ask. Like, let me know. I don't mind explaining things.
So your virtual assistant, Jan, you did video calls with them originally to understand how good the English was. Is that what you did, or how
Yeah,
did?
we did Zoom calls and then I taught him through Loom videos. So I have like a whole library of Loom videos. I should sell those.
Yeah, actually, you should.
Maybe
Yeah,
I will. Maybe I'll put together how to
getting
train
her
your
virtual
virtual
assistant
assistant.
on
Yeah.
board for sure.
You'll get like a whole pack and then maybe I can hook you up with a virtual assistant. That might be a special announcement at the end.
Uh-huh.
Stay
Yeah, yeah.
tuned. Little teaser.
Yeah.
Gosh, ideas are just coming, Neil. Now
I
my brain's
know.
on to that. Okay, focus.
Oh, and another and all these things. The next thing we're going to answer is where do you find these people? Because you're probably going at this point. How am I going to find this person who could do all this stuff that your magical assistant Jan, or sorry, virtual assistant Jan does?
Yeah.
But we're going to tell you how to go about finding them. Well, I would say one more thing to add is just triple check that they've got reliable internet connection because
Yes.
that can be a problem too. So
Yes. And that is one of the cons of having a virtual assistant is they do have tropical storms. Like he's in the Philippines and they have crazy tropical storms over there and his internet will go out and he will go to his friend's house or he'll travel to find internet. There's only been, I want to say like 2 days out of the last year where he wasn't able to upload. And one of them, they had a big earthquake. So, I mean, that happens too. They have a lot of earthquakes over there.
Yeah. And it can be an issue where they're like, all of a sudden we have no internet. I'll let you know when it's back. And that can be a little stressful, but something to keep in mind. I forget how long ago it was now. They had a huge tropical storm down there and a lot of them had no internet for actually a couple of weeks, but that's highly unusual. Those storms are, knock on wood, not supposed to come that frequently, but something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I have admins here too that know how to upload. Like all my admins from America that I hire, the first thing I train them on is how to upload. And that's just so they're familiar with the systems and processes, and they need to have a good understanding of HDPhotoHub, because I'm going to ask them to go in and make corrections where needed, and they're going to need to learn how to use that system. So
Right.
uploading is a great way to learn. And just if your VA goes down from an earthquake or a storm, then you've got a backup.
And in that scenario too, if you can't yet afford the, US based admin that's more expensive or whatever, you're not ready for that, just have a Loom video that does these basic things, and just tell your wife to help you out in a pinch.
Yeah.
Which is what I've had to do once or twice. Like, babe, you got to help me. I'm at a shoot. Can you just go into HDPhotoHub, go to this site, and I just need to hit send completion email. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. I know. I had my husband once, he had to upload files to a Dropbox folder, and he's never used Dropbox. He's never used Photoshop. Like,
Right.
it was the hardest thing. I'm like, okay, show me the screen again. Wait, click this button. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay. But I've
Yeah.
called my shooters, like when I've been in a pinch. Before I had Jan, one of my admins was out and I was like in a total pinch. So I called all my shooters. I'm like, can you help me? One of them could help out. So that's nice too. And Alex, one of my shooters, he was my manager for a while. He helped out quite a bit in the mornings. And yeah, he's usually home and can help. And yeah, that's kind of the beauty of having a team too, is you can just help each other out when you get into like a bind with things like that.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt, get you through a tricky minute, and
Exactly.
you're good. So
All right, before we talk about where to find a virtual assistant, I want to talk about the tools that I used to help train Jan so that he could
Yes.
learn all of this stuff.
Right.
So I would do a brief every day. So he would have a Google Doc in the Google Drive that had a breakdown of what he was going to be learning for that day. So for instance, we started with cleaning images. So I'd give him a link to a Dropbox folder of one of our done projects, and he would download those images, and then I'd tell him, I want you to crop the front shot of the house and then clean up the yard if there was any signs in the yard or something, right? And then I'd make him a little Loom video for the day, just like 5-10 minutes, just showing him how I would crop it. We shoot really wide, so we have to creatively crop the front shot of the house. So you need to crop out the road. I taught him about the rule of thirds, using 1/3 of the sky, 2/3 should be the house and the yard. Stuff like that. And then just, talking about balance and stuff like that. So, and then just showing him different things that we would crop out of the front shot. For instance, if there's like an ADT sign or a shovel or, random crap or dead spots in the lawn, let's clean all that up for him. That front shot is so important. So in those videos, I would send him the Loom video showing him how to do it. And then I'd tell him, when you're done cleaning the images, send me a Loom video back showing me how you cleaned them and how you cropped them. And then I would watch that, and then I'd critique anything that I saw that he missed. I would critique back with another Loom video and say, okay, you did great, except this one, you would want to do it this way. So that gives a really good understanding to both of you, that like he has a clear understanding of what his expectations are. And then by him looming me back, it lets me know that he fully understands the concept, and we can move on to the next task for the next day. So, and sometimes it would be, 1 or 2 small tasks a day, which might take him 1 or 2 hours. And sometimes it would be like 3 or 4 hours of training that day. So it's really just what I could come up with. And that, putting those together was a big time commitment. I would literally get up at 5 and work on those for like 45 minutes right when I woke up, and just get it done and send it off to him. So there is a time investment to get these people trained, but it's well worth it in the long run, because if you're growing, you're going to need it. You're going to need that help. So I find Loom to be the most effective training tool there is out there. And you save them. You can put little folders together within Loom for like admin training, editing training. I do it with my shooters too. I'll critique their jobs in Loom, just click through the photos and show them how I would have adjusted or, made the shot better, or show them what they did right too. One other thing too, you always want to start the conversation with something that they did correctly, and then go ahead and critiquing them, and then try to end on a positive note. That way they don't feel like you're just constantly telling them the bad. It's really easy to get into that trap of like always just telling them what they've done wrong, and you don't want them to feel defeated. You want to lift them up and let them know that they are helping you. They're doing a good job. They're starting to get it, and that'll just encourage them to keep going. So try try to use that good, bad, good formula when you're critiquing people. It helps for sure. Yeah. And
totally.
different people take critiques differently. Like I'm very blunt and honest with my critiques, and I just want people to be better. So I'm pretty like honest with my feedback when I do a critique. I have to tell this story real quick. So one of my girlfriends has an Airbnb that's like, I don't know, 3 hours away. And she wanted me to shoot it. And I can't get out there in time for her to launch. So her property manager hired a photographer to do the Airbnb photos. And she got him back and sent me the link. And she was like, can you just tell me what you think of these? She's like, I don't think they're very good. And I looked and they were so bad, so bad. So then she told the property manager she didn't like the photos, and she had some other guy come out and shoot it. And he did a bad job too. They were a little better, but still. So she showed me those. So I made a Loom video critiquing them. And oh man, I was like, feel free to show these to the photographer. I've been doing this forever. Like, I know what I'm doing.
Gosh. I want to see that
so
Loom
good.
video.
They were so bad. I was like,
Like
oh,
what?
Rachel,
What
be
what
nice.
did they do wrong? What did they do wrong?
You know, when you shoot a house, you want to shoot. You have a subject that you're shooting in the living room, right? Like shooting the living room, your subject is the fireplace. So you want to make sure the fireplace is in the right position within the frame, balanced and all that, right? This guy just took a picture of the wall of the living room and like a straight on shot. You could see directly into the bathroom and see the toilet. That was like in the center. So the first thing your eye goes to is that toilet. I'm like, what is he showing here? That there's a bathroom off the living room? Like it was just so poorly shot. And I think he did all single exposures because all the windows were blown out. The verticals were all off. He did this like close up detail shot of one single flower in the yard. That's like, I mean, it's a flower, it's pretty, but like that's not going to sell the Airbnb. Maybe if it was like a big garden, you take
There's one flower. Come
one
see
flower.
it quick.
Yeah,
Or
I
it's
was like,
dead.
yeah. They were just bad, and I don't think his lens was wide enough, so there weren't a lot of good shots that showed the actual size of the place. And they're trying to list it as like a high end Airbnb, you know. And I'm like, okay. So her and I planned a day where we're gonna make a day trip out of it and go out there and explore the city and get community shots for her. I'll do drone. We'll do the whole thing. So, and she's super cool. She's really fun. She's a real estate investor. She is 38 years old. And her husband's goal is to have 40 doors by 40 years old. So a door in real estate investing is like one unit. So I think they're up to 22 units. So she has a lot, but she's like, we're going to make it. We're doing it. I'm like, you're incredible. Like, to have 40 investment properties by the time you're 40 years old, like you could retire.
That's not even on I'm older than that, and it's not even on my agenda yet.
I know. I'm like, well, I have 3 doors and 2 of them we live in.
So next life, when I'm reincarnated, 40 before I'm 40. Yeah.
But that's her job. Like she just stays home and works on the properties, and then her husband's a contractor. So he can actually do the work on the properties they purchase. So it works out really well for them. They've got a good little system put together. Yeah. Okay. So where to find them? You can ask me. And I reached out to Jan and said, Jan, do you have any friends who need jobs as virtual assistants? Like basically doing what you do. And he said, yes, I have a bunch of friends who just graduated from college, which means they're going to know how to speak English. They're educated on a computer and they're well qualified to be a virtual assistant. So he is going to put together a team of virtual assistants that he will help train. And then we can set them up with you if you're interested in getting a virtual assistant. And then while we're doing this podcast, I was like, I should actually include my Loom videos, my training videos. So that might be an option too, like an add-on option to include those videos for your virtual assistant. Or maybe we can figure out a way to, just make it easier on you for that transition, because there is a lot to learn with the cleaning of images and whatnot. So and everybody has different standards. So it might be something that you want to do on your own, but I could also have kind of a done for you solution for hiring a virtual assistant. And of course, we use HDPhotoHub. So if you are using another company or nothing, it might be kind of hard to do the training because Jan doesn't know that. So that you might be on your own there. But
and if you're not using a system, it's an easy fix. It's really the next thing you're going to need to go hand in hand with that is a system. So if they're thinking of like, heck, Rachel's already weeding this all out for me, then I think it would only make sense to just consider looking into HDPhotoHub at the same time.
Totally. And we have a referral code too for that. If you want to use the referral code, you'll get, I think it's 50 free credits, which the way that HDPhotoHub gets paid is they don't charge for anything like invoicing or any of that. They charge for file delivery. So when you send the photos to your clients and they just are able to download them, it's $3 or 3 credits. And then if you send the download with the property website and marketing kit, it's $15 or 15 credits. But you can buy the credits in bulk and you get like 20 or 30% off, I think. So
yeah, depending on how big you buy. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They have like crazy big packages, like $7,500. I'm like, I
Oh,
should
yeah.
do that. Save more money. And then I'm like, oof,
I know.
that's a lot.
I'm like, I'll save 20% today. That's enough.
Like, it's kind of been slow. I'm good. I'll
Yeah,
just do the $500 package every time.
But that is the good part about it, is that there's no monthly thing or anything like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
you just pay when you're making money, you pay, because you're going to get paid from those photos, so.
Yeah. And $3 per shoot is not a lot of money to be paying to send photos
I
off.
feel like you might have a different rate since you came on before me. I think it might be 5 for
Really?
mine. It could be. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
Well, 3 or 5. I don't know.
Somewhere in there, but it's not a big deal for what you're getting, and you look super professional.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you have the system. That they definitely are impressed when they see that system, and they get all their stuff. Just telling them all your stuff's going to be in one place. You do 10 listings with me, you just log in, it's all there. You don't have to go searching around for it. They love that.
Yeah.
We won't get into HDPhotoHub. We did a whole episode on it. You could check it out because it's definitely a cool tool. Let us know if you'd like to hear more about it, or if you have other questions outside of what we've talked about on this or on HDPhotoHub. Let us know, because we're open to chatting about more stuff. We just need to know what, we don't know what we don't know. So what do you need help with? So yeah.
Exactly. So another way to find a virtual assistant is to put out an ad on social media. There are some Facebook groups with virtual assistants that you can, check them out there and see who you can find. You can ask around. You might be surprised at how many people actually use virtual assistants, especially a lot of real estate brokers use them as well. Definitely.
Yeah, and if you're friendly with somebody else that already uses a virtual assistant, just ask them, hey, do they know of other people looking for work? Because and that helps. And then you can also, just a couple online resources. Fiverr, you can find people who are willing to work part-time, and they list all their skills and stuff like that, as well as Online Jobs PH, which is all of Filipino-based workers, and again they give all their information on what they're qualified to do and all that, so you can kind of look for the right people and reach out to them, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing is the payment. Like, I pay Jan through PayPal. So it's easy. PayPal or Venmo. And he's a contracted worker, so he's not an actual employee.
Right. And I do PayPal as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of sums it up. Jan has been a blessing to my business, and I would highly recommend, if you're growing or feeling any kind of pains, to get a virtual assistant, because they're great.
Yes, definitely do. And if you have other questions, let us know.
Yes.
Let us know. Okay.
All right.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much. And we're going to see you on the next one real soon.
We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.